In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to trade without fear. My name is John Fibonacci. Welcome to this YouTube channel. And if you watch this video all the way through, I think you're going to learn something. All right, let's get right into it. How to trade without fear. Now, before we get into it, I want you to understand that this was inspired by The Disciplined Trader, which is a book by Mark Douglas and Paula T. Webb. Here's my copy right here. It sits on my shelf right next to Trading in the Zone. If you have not read this one, I think you should. I'll put a link down in the description. All right, so what is fear? Fear is an emotional response to a perceived threat or danger. It serves as a survival mechanism, triggering physical and psychological changes like increased heart rate, heightened alertness, and a sense of adrenaline to help an individual respond to potential harm, right? Fight or flight response. Fear can be rational, which is based on actual threats, or irrational, like phobias or anxiety. What is fear for traders? For day traders and even other traders, fear is the emotional reaction to perceived financial danger, like the fear of losing money, missing out on a big move, FOMO, right? The fear of missing out, or entering a trade too early or too late. It often shows up as hesitation to pull the trigger on a setup, exiting trades too early, or avoiding trades altogether after a loss. In trading, fear can cloud judgment and override logic. When your judgment is clouded, sometimes your actions can be clouded as well. So why do we have fear? Traders experience fear because real money is at stake, and the market is uncertain by nature. Here are some key reasons why fear arises in trading. Again, I know we covered a few of these already, but just to give you some notes here: fear of losing money, the fear of being wrong, right? Ego, the fear of missing out, FOMO, fear of giving back profit. I know we hate doing that, right? Fear from past trauma, maybe some childhood stuff or early trading career stuff is going on. And a lack of preparation or a lack of confidence. Now, how can we recognize fear? We know what it is. How can we recognize it? Here are some mental signs: overthinking or second guessing your setups, feeling stuck in analysis paralysis, avoiding trades you know meet your criteria, right? You saw a setup, but you hesitated and then you didn't take it, but it went your direction, right? That's a mental sign. Obsessively watching the P&L, right? That's your profit and loss. So sometimes we, instead of focusing on the market, we focus on the money, right? Are we making money? Are we losing money? Are we passing the challenge or the combine? Or are we losing the combine? When we're focused on the money, we miss out on the market. And that's why our judgment is clouded, because we're not focused on the right things. All right. And another mental sign is thinking, well, what if I lose again? Or I can't afford to lose. Well, I blew another account. I blew another challenge, right? Those are some mental signs that you have some fear going on. Here are some behavioral clues. You break your own rules. Like, for example, moving a stop loss. Maybe you widened your stop loss. Maybe you didn't trade with a stop loss at all. Oof, right? You check the charts obsessively, right? There's a difference between managing a trade, right, and obsessively checking the chart. If you're at a family function or you're at work and you're constantly pulling out your phone to check your trade, that might be a problem, right? You avoid journaling a loss because it feels uncomfortable. Maybe you're embarrassed. Maybe you don't want to face it because maybe you took a loss or maybe a series of losses, and that might be emotionally painful, so you avoid journaling altogether. Or you revenge trade, or you hesitate after a loss or even a win. Or maybe you hesitate after a series of losses. Maybe you're about to enter a trade and you're thinking about the other trades that you've taken and you've lost 2 or 3 in a row, and you're thinking, well, what if I lose this one too? Right? Those are some behavioral clues. So, how do we overcome fear? I'm going to give you 9 actually. I'm going to give you 9 ways to overcome fear. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to understand the root of fear. Now, everyone's going to be different, so you're going to have to figure this out on your own. But what is the root of fear for you? Fear in trading comes from uncertainty, lack of confidence, or emotional attachment to money. Identifying the source is a good first step in overcoming fears, right? The first step in the 12-step programs, right? Like NA or AA, Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous, the very first thing that they do in that 12-step program is to admit that they have a problem. So you have to understand, okay, you recognize some signs. Oh, John, I have some fears then because, I hesitate or I worry about losses. I obsessively, look at the charts. I have some fears. So where does that come from? You need to understand the root. That's going to be the first step. Number 2, you need to trade with a proven strategy. So fear thrives on uncertainty. Develop and test a strategy with clear entry, exit, and risk management rules. Backtesting, demo trading, and experience builds trust in the system. I mean, that's pretty much what my YouTube channel is for. I teach you guys entry techniques and there's mental models, there's trading models, right? Like entry models, there's like the market maker models, videos, roadmaps, if you will, stuff like that. That's proven things that work. And so for me, right, what's, a proven strategy that I use, for me, that would be smart money concepts. And as an example, I say this all the time, especially on our live streams, trading in the direction of opposing liquidity. If we have some highs, we just got a low taken and we're starting to head for some highs, I'm going to trade in that direction because probabilities are, with the right time, price, and context, of course, that we're going to trade higher. And that is something that I trust. Number 3, good risk management. We say this all the time. Don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. Risk only a small percentage per trade. Let's just say, as an example, 1 to 2%. You shouldn't blow an account if you trade 1% max risk on every single trade. Okay. Theoretically, it shouldn't happen. Okay. Mathematically, it shouldn't. Can it? Yeah. But that's another conversation. Okay. Set stop losses and take profits or take partials before getting into the trade, right? Plan the trade, trade the plan. You've heard that before. And remember, when it comes to good risk management, when it comes to good money management, remember, small losses, big wins. Even as a 50-50 trader, if you're losing $100 a trade, but winning $200 a trade, that's profitability because your losses are smaller than your wins. Number 4, trading plan and a trading journal. Plan your trades and trade your plan. I know I said that on the last slide. Stick to your rules instead of emotions. That's a big one. I've said this for a long time, that as traders, we do not control our emotions, but we do control our actions, right? You can be anxious and nervous and still hold a trade. You can be angry and not place a revenge trade. So that to me is a big key. We don't control our emotions, but we control our actions. We control our responses. All right. Journaling trades helps to identify patterns of fear-based behavior or mistakes. So you need to keep that journal and not be afraid to, face your mistakes. All right. A journal, I got this from Ryan Holiday. A journal is for the writer, not the reader. So if you write in a journal, right, nobody's going to read it except for you. So that's what I would focus on. Don't be afraid, to be vulnerable in your journal because you're the only one that's going to read it. Number 5, detach from outcomes. View each trade as one of many. The series of trades perspective, as per Mark Douglas. It's also why I shared the disciplined trader and briefly mentioned trading in the zone, right? Series of trades perspective. You have to understand that losses are part of the process, not personal failures. Focus on executions and let the results take care of themselves. If you focus on the process, right? Focus on the plan, the results will be a byproduct of that. Number 6, experience through repetition. Fear diminishes with familiarity. The more you experience, the more comfortable you become with uncertainty. Simulated and small lot trading can ease the transition. You may not trust a trading model or an entry model that you learn right off the bat because you're not used to it. It's the same way when you learn how to drive. You probably were a little bit nervous the first time you got behind the wheel of a vehicle. But once you understood the roads, you understood, how to accelerate, brake, use your turn signals. Most people forgot about that. But once you got familiar with how a vehicle works and your surroundings, driving became easy for you. And now most people probably text and drive because you're so comfortable, right? And that is through repetition. Don't text and drive though, okay? Number 7, adopt a stoic mindset. Accept what you cannot control, like market movements. Focus only on what you can, like execution, your risk, and discipline. Separate emotions from decisions to maintain clarity. And I know I briefly talked about that already. A lot of these ideas are interconnected, as you can tell. What's interesting is in about 15 minutes from now, the How to Trade Like Marcus Aurelius video will come out. So by the time this video comes out, that will already be out. So if you have not seen that, you should go watch that one, How to Day Trade Like Marcus Aurelius. Number 8, positive influences. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals and avoid toxic people. Join a trading community or find a mentor to share experiences and perspectives. You can join our own SMS community down below by pressing the join button. You'll get some perks like member-only videos, a sniper loyalty badge, permanent chat access to the live streams and stuff like that. If you don't want to pay, if you don't want to join a community, that's fine too. But at least, get some trader friends that know what they're doing and, bounce ideas off each other, share experiences, and learn from one another. Don't do it solo, okay? And number 9, reframe fear as opportunity. Instead of fearing losses, see them as tuition for learning. Each trade is a lesson, whether a win or a loss. All right, so reframe fear as opportunity. All right, so in summary, understand the root of fear. Trade with a proven strategy. Follow good risk management. Develop a trading plan and a journal. Detach from the outcomes, right? Focus on the process, let the outcomes take care of themselves. Gain experience through repetition. Adopt a stoic mindset. Focus on what you can control. Join a trading community, or at least, have a friend or two to help you out, and you can help them too. And reframe fear as opportunity. So with that being said, hopefully you guys got some value out of this video. If you have not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and drop a like as well. I would greatly appreciate that. If you really enjoyed this video, if this was just awesome to you, then send this to a friend so they can get value as well. All right. So with that being said, be blessed. All right. Don't do anything stupid. And I'll see you in the next one.